Hi, in today's video, we will be looking at recreating a McKinsey chart. The chart was published in a report about plastic urgency, which was part of a larger report that talked about investments in recycling and the amount of money that companies would have to spend around it. The chart in question is a simple line chart that shows us a line for a single line for data points up to for a data up to 2023, and then that line is broken into three separate lines showing the forecast or three different forecast scenarios up till 2028. What is interesting to note about this chart is, like all the other consulting or this McKinsey chart specifically, along with the chart they've added a header. The header is not just talking about what the chart is, but it is revealing an insight. Recycling is at a tipping point, which means the current year for 2023, with 3 to 4 years of outsized margins, right? Now, what margins are they talking about? At the bottom, I can clearly see that they've added a text box to highlight what the dotted lines represent. Rather than adding a legend, they've added a text box. Dotted lines indicate margin projections for different market scenarios based on McKinsey analysis, right? Along with that, at 2019, they have highlighted a single point that was important to represent. So, because emergence of outside margins, this is when outside margins started to emerge. Now, in case you're not able to follow through with what outside margins are, you'll have to go through the entire report. What I'm just trying to do is highlight what is good about this chart, which is obviously everything. So, in case you want to go through the report, I've added the link in the PDF. They've added an imperative to the title, which again is an insight, and the rest is just a chart. Now, I try to recreate this in Excel, and this is what it looked like. So this is not a I've copy pasted the chart from Excel. I'll just tell you the things that I've added manually, right? So this dotted line that you see and this gray shaded area, these adding a vertical reference line. I've added reference line to charts that have a single line or just bar charts, but with multiple data points already in place, I was not able to add a reference line. So this reference line and this gray shaded area is something that I had to add manually. This data label I added in the chart itself by going through the chart formatting options. Similarly, this arrow that you see, this is not added manually. I've added this by adding additional data point in the chart data source. This data label again was added through the chart formatting options. But the one that you see at the top is a text box that I've added separately. Similarly, the one at the bottom is also a text box that I've added separately. And the header obviously are added later on and are not part of the chart elements. Then based on that same data type or that same data structure that was used to create the previous chart, I created something of my own, right? Now in this, I created three scenarios. I added percentages, and when you click on the drop down and select a different percentage, the chart gets updated automatically. Now I'll walk you through how I created the two charts in Excel. Thank you for watching till here. Hold on and watch the explanation on Excel. So continuing with the video, this is the chart in question that we will be recreating, and this is how I've already done it, right? First things first, I'll not talk about the chart first. Let us understand how your data should look like to even create a chart like this. So these are representative numbers that I've added from this chart based on whatever I understood best. So I'll just duplicate this sheet for now because we will want to create this chart again, and I will delete the chart for now and delete. Here, first I added something. I called it current scenario because that is what I'll just zoom in a bit so that everyone is able to, so that people can see clearly. So I added a current scenario, which is a line that is till 2023. Let me just open my presentation as well so that I can show. Let me just go to the browser itself. So as you can see, this is something that they have data for the current scenario till 2023. So hence I added this data till 2023 only because I don't want this line to be there after 2023. It is splitting into three different lines. So now for those three different lines, 1, 2, and 3, I will need to have three separate columns with three separate data points, right? So since in the second steady case, which is the one dotted line in between in the middle, the data is same, the line is constant, so hence I've kept the same number. And the best case is the data points have increased, and in the worst case the data points have decreased. And this dotted line that you see over here is the one that has helped me create this black arrow at the bottom, showcasing a 3 to 4 year period for the margins from the emergence of the outside margins. So this data is from 2017, but they highlighted a point wherein the outside margins in this context have increased, have emerged from 2019. So till from 2019 till 2023, what they did was they added a reference line and they added a parallel line to the axis, horizontal parallel line to the axis. So let's just create this chart. So for creating a chart like this, you will need to have a data in a similar format. You can't have all the data points in one or two columns. If you want four separate lines, you need to have four separate columns. So first things first, I'll select the data, I'll insert, I will go to line, I'll go to more line charts. You can add it from here as well. So I could just click on this drop down and see the chart here as well. So whatever works for you, I go to line and I just want a simple line chart, right? The exact line chart is created, right? Now this has more to do. So creating the line chart is not very difficult if your data is in the correct structure. Mind you, the data has to be in the correct structure, right? If you don't know how to structure your data, you will not be able to create such a chart, right? So when you have data, so and this is a very common chart if you look at the contexts where you can use this. So you can use it in finance, you can use it in sales, marketing. In marketing, you want to show campaign digital marketing specifically. You want to show how the campaign has performed across three different verticals or across three different mediums: your online, ad, print, etc. Or you can use it in sales to show forecasts for the coming years across your three different business verticals or across three different scenarios, right? But here in this case, it is just one aspect that is being, so it is three different products would be a wrong example because till 2023 I have a single line. So I'm just representing one thing here. So let's say I'm representing my sales, and then I have three separate lines after 2023 till 2028 showing how my sales will perform in three different scenarios that I have created, right? So first things first, although I just had to click on insert and create a line chart, this chart was only created because the data was in the correct format. So having the data in the correct format is of utmost importance. Now, how do you make it look like a McKinsey chart? So first things first, what is appealing about this chart? The header, obviously, then the imperative below the header, right? The header, then the imperative below the header. But that'll come later on when we go to the PowerPoint. For now, we just need to focus on the chart. So what my attention clearly goes to this blue dot over here, you know, then this dotted arrow and this shaded region, right? And you see that the colors used in the chart are not vary, you know, they're very complementary. They've used black and gray itself, even for the font, the text. They highlighted, they made bold whatever was necessary, and everything is fairly simple in terms of colors. Excel by default, the charts will give you such fancy colors, but you can, you know, obviously change them. So first things first, you will hide the legend. So what most people do is they just go ahead and delete the legend. Avoid doing that. I mean, it will not cause any complications as such, but you can avoid doing that by going to chart design at the top. When you click on the chart design and chart format, two options are enabled. In the latest version, Microsoft 365, you see the options this way. In some of the previous versions, you might just see design or format. So, but these are the options that will be available to you. The options have not changed a lot. So in chart design, I will go to add chart element, right? So here I can see, here in chart design, I will open that again. I will go to add chart element, and in this in legends I will just select none. You can have your legends on the right, top, left, bottom, and there are more options as well with reference to formatting and all, but I'll just select none for now. So that's it, my legends are hidden. So we don't have legends here. For that reason I hid the legends. Now I want my line that is still 2023 to be a black line. So fairly simple. I just click on the line, I do a right click, I go to format data series. In that I'll select the first option. You just click on the line, go to format data series, and click on the first option, which is your fill and line. Here I have two options that I can use. So I want a solid line, which already was a solid line, but I'm just selecting just in case, and I'll make it black because my line was black. The thickness and all is fine for me, and this is a solid line. It does not have any dashes, it's just a solid line. But on this line, I want to highlight one specific point. So what I'll do is for 2019, so when you click on the line, all the points are selected. If you click on any one point specifically, only that point is selected. Now here I want to add a marker. So besides line, you have something called a marker. At each point in the line, you can add a marker. How does that look like? You go to marker, you go to marker options over here, and right now it says none. You can go to built-in, which are the default options, and you can click on type. And since we have a circle in the McKinsey chart, I'll add a circle here as well, and I'll increase the size. Let me just turn off these options, right? And I'll change the color of the marker to somewhat similar to the, but that's the border, my bad. I don't want a border, I want to fill. So I'll fill the color to a little bit darker. It's a little similar to sky blue as such. This looks similar. And since I've added a border, so they have a black border. If you see, this circle has a black border. Since I've added white borders over here, since I've added white borders, you see that the line it looks like the line is cut off. So I'll just click on that again, and I'll just go to fill and line option. Then I'll scroll up, I'll go to marker. In marker, I've already selected my marker option. In the marker fill, sorry, in the marker border, I will just select a black because that is similar, that is the exact color for my line as well. So I'll do that. I'll close this for now. So we figured out one thing for now. Let us look at the other three lines. So these three lines in the chart are in gray and they're dotted. Fairly simple. You will repeat the exact same steps that we did now, but you will have to do it one by one. You can't do it for all the three lines together. You can't press control and select the other line as well. That doesn't work in charts. So you just click on the chart, right click, go to format data series, go to the first option, and here you'll have to make two changes. So markers, we don't want any markers as such. Do they have any markers? So they don't have any markers in the chart. Markers are essentially what would be at each of the points. So you can, like I've added a circle here, you can add a square, a diamond, or a smaller circle, a smaller square, a smaller diamond, just to give a more visual appeal. So I do a right click, I go to format data series, the first option. I'll stay in line, I don't need to go to markers. I'll make it a solid line, which it was already by automatic, it detects automatically. I'll just select a solid line. I'll add a gray color and I'll make it dashed. I don't want to make it dotted, I want to make it, let's choose the second one, let's make it dotted. Then I'll select the second line. I'll again, let me just check which color I selected. I selected white background, but darker. Right, I'll select the same one here as well, just to keep things consistent, nothing else. round dot for each of the three lines and color to the white background, but 25% darker, right? I'll just close this so that we can see the chart correctly. One more small change. Since we're not adding the chart title to the chart, we'll be adding it externally in PowerPoint. So I won't disable that. So either I can just click on it and click on the borders and press delete, or I can go to chart element, go to chart title and select none. So my chart title gets deleted. It gets hidden basically, right? So I have these three lines now. I have a black solid line for the year 2023. Then I have three lines representing three different uh, scenarios, right? So you got a similar look. The lines are a little, so the lines that I've created are a little thicker. The lines here, the width of the lines is not very thick. So I'll just make that one small change again. I'll right click, I'll go to format data series, format axis, I'll go to line, and the width of the line is something that I want to increase. I want to make it 1.25. Similarly here, for each of these charts also, I want to do that. I want to make it 1.25 and I want to make the lines dashed so that they look a little scattered. I think even dotted is fine, just in this case. Dotted and 1.25, dotted and 1.25, right? So that's that. They do look a little smaller. Let me just go back and my bad. Let me just increase the width to 1.75. That looks better, at least for the dotted lines. Because they're dotted and they're in the color gray, they still look a little small, but that's fine. That's fine for now. We're just trying to recreate the chart. We can work on it later on as well. So we've got a somewhat similar look. Now this line at the bottom. How did I add this line? I just named the column line. I added the same I added same data point across 2017 to 2023. I just realized that this line doesn't start from 2017, it starts from 2019. So I'll delete the first 2 points and it will start from 2019, because the gray ref line that comes here on 2019, that is when this line starts emerging. So I'll click on this line again, right click, format axis. You can click on any of these options, format axis or format data series. They take you to these options. I'll just go to the first option. In line, I want to select, it's already solid line, but I'll just select it just in case. I'll make it black. The width of that line is not very thick, so I'll make it thin. But I want to add a arrow at the beginning. So here, if you scroll down in the line options itself, there's color, there's transparency, there's width, there's compound type. Do you want a single line, double line? There's a dash type if you want to change that solid line into a dotted or a square dot or a dash. Then I want to choose something called end arrow type, which is just going to be a simple arrow. I'll click on that and there you go. So similarly here I have a arrow. The line is even thicker for that matter. I'll just thinner, not thicker, my bad. Yeah, that works. Now it's merging with the grid lines. Just need to make that one small change. Make it 1 point only. Yeah, works. So now we have this line as well. How do you get the data points that I was mentioning? So here I want to mention 3 to 4 years. Fairly simple. When I click on this line, I have 5 data points because this line has 5 data points across 5 years from 2019 to 2023. Now when I want to add a data label to one specific point, I'll double click on that point. I'll just do right click and I'll click on add data label. So it'll show me 0.5. Now I'll right click on the table. It's showing me the value for that data point. I'll go to format data label. Now here I firstly want to change the position of the data label. So I'll in label position under label options, I'll click above. So my data label is visible above the line, right? And here I don't care what the value is because I'm going to edit it. So to edit a value within a data label, you just double click within the data label and just choose whatever value you want to write. So 3 to 4 years is what you want to write. I'll do a control A and the control B, just making the text bold, right? Fairly simple. You want to change the position, you can do that by just dragging it here. and this line that appears that is connecting the data point and the data label, you can just click on it and delete it, right? So that is how you create this data label. You could have added a text box manually as well in the PowerPoint for that matter, but you can do that. You can edit the data labels as per your convenience. Similarly here, I can just do right. I click once, then I get this, then all the data points are selected. I double click, then only that individual data point is selected. I do a right click. I go to format data. I go to add data label, and the data label is added. I'll just drag it here. I'll delete the line that connects the data label and the data point, and emergence of outside margins. I just have to write emergence of outside margins. I'll do that. And the text in this box can be edited normally. Outside margins. I'll do Control A, a Control B. I'll go to my home, make the text black, drag it a little to the left, decrease the font size so that it fits exactly. Yeah, perfect. So we have something here as well. We've added the second line at the bottom. Now we need to work on the axes. So we want it just to mention 0 to 1, 2, and 3. So you select the axis, do right click, do format axis, right? So your maximum has to be 3 and your minimum has to be 0. Your major will be 0 and your minor will be 1. And you just click out anywhere outside, and you just press enter for that matter. No, sorry, not major. My major will be, minor will be 0 and my major will be. So once I do that, my margins are created. I want those same margins to be displayed in the right hand side of the axis as well. And I can do that from, there's an option here that allows me to do this. I'm just searching for it. Automatic, no, not values in reverse order. Let me just open this option again. Format chart area, size and properties, no. Not the effects, not the colors. Text options, no, not the text options as well. I'll just do right click again and not major grid lines. Just figuring out that option. Format major grid lines. No, so obviously this is the grid lines, not the axis. So when I do a format axis, there's an option here that allows me to show the axis on both the left and the right hand side. I am not able to find that for now. Let me just go and see if I can add it in my, I've added it in my PowerPoint. uh, I'll just check and let you know by the end of the video, right? So we have that, and we have the 3 lines for the forecast. Like I mentioned earlier, I was not able to add this reference line and the shaded area. Although this is doable, but I just felt for the purpose of this video and just to recreate the chart, I added them manually in PowerPoint. Similarly, this text box also added manually within PowerPoint. Let me just take you back to the PowerPoint. In fact, let me open the PowerPoint. Just a second, it's opened. So yeah, right here. I'll just hide this for now. I'll just minimize. Yeah, that's fine. So you see that I've added this chart. I've just copy pasted the chart in PowerPoint. These elements are part of the chart itself. This text box I've added manually. This text box I've added manually. The header and the imperative I added manually, and this one I added manually. But the chart in itself can be easily created in PowerPoint. And if you want a different variation of this, I've done that as well. So in the similar format, I created some. So let's say this is a scenario analysis for sales numbers. I recreated the analysis, that what happens in the best case and optimum case and the worst case, and I link these data points to the drop downs available over here. So if I just press F2 for you to see the formula, um, I'm multiplying by the percentages present. Let me add the headings in column J, K, and L. So each of these are individual drop downs, right? So just to show you how this chart works, I will have to just display the chart to you guys. Just a second. I'll do Control Shift F1. Let me hide my formula bar as well. So sometimes when you want to add drop downs and make your Excel charts dynamic, what happens is you can't do this drop down and all in PowerPoint, right? Let me zoom in. You can't add a drop down in PowerPoint for your charter. You can obviously use a bit of VBA and all to do that, but that becomes very complicated. So now your Excel sheet in itself becomes a presentation tool for you. So here in this scenario, if I want to change my best case from 20% to 15%, I can do that immediately. So this is how you can use an Excel sheet as well to act as a presentation slider presentation tool for you. So as I change the numbers, my chart becomes dynamic. And this chart I've created in the similar fashion. Again, what's important to note is that your data needs to be in the structure. The structure is important. Once you have the structure, you can obviously get the desired chart output, but the structure is what is of utmost importance. If you don't have the data in this structure, then it'll be difficult to create it. So that's how you create a McKinsey chart in Excel. Let me just check one thing. I remember how I duplicated these axes. I'm just not able to figure it out right now. I do right click, I go to format axis, and how did I replicate this? Just give me a second. Access option is, I didn't change anything here. Did I change anything here? No. I didn't change anything in color or line. Let me delete this once and let me add it again. So one cool thing is when you copy and paste an Excel chart in PowerPoint, you can edit the chart over here as well. So no, this is not the option. I go to format axis, and there's supposed to be an option here. So oh, another thing, so this is linked to my data source. So any change I make in my Excel file, that change will be reflected in this chart as well. So I'm not sure how I did that. It's just a single click that I have to enable. Let me see if I can find any options here. No, I'm not able to find any options here. So that's fine. You can, I'll add a documentation link in the comments so you guys can check it there. But that's how you do it. It's fairly simple, not very complicated. What is important is your data needs to be in the right structure. Once you have that, you've got a chart that looks exactly like a McKinsey chart. I hope you learned something new. This video was a little longer than it should have been. It's because I've never done these sort of videos where I walk you through how to create such complicated charts. I'll try to keep them a little shorter so that it's easier for you people to consume the videos as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new. Thank you for watching. Uh, Stay tuned for more content. I'll be posting more, so that is there. And if you have any specific requests or if you have any specific questions that you guys face, you can definitely put them in the comments or you can message us, and we'll create videos on those specifically. Right? Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next video.